that big conversation for you here on the 3FM Sunrise.
The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise.
Our guest in studio this morning is Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu. She is the administrator of the Minerals Development Fund and also the NDC's National Women Organizer. Joining us in studio, yes, I'm going to get a correction, and so I know I'm going to mention the full name. You don't have to. You don't have to correct me, dog. I will make the corrections in and of myself on the show right now, so that I get it right. And so let me do that right away. In terms of a correction in the name, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu Kote is my guest in studio. Doc, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I trust that all is well.
God has shown me mercy and my joy is full.
Absolutely. I love it when people are very spiritual and you come off as one as well.
I don't know whether it's spiritual, but...
Or a strong sense or a strong connection with God.
I'm a strong Christian. I'm a strong follower of Christ. Yeah.
You wear two hats these days. Elroy.
Yes.
You wear two hats these days. One being the MDF administrator and the National Women's Organizer of the NDC. Which of these positions gives you a sleepless night and you say you go to bed thinking about?
I want to say good morning to your viewers, and I believe you are streaming live, so to your
absolutely,
and to your listeners as well, your viewers and your listeners. National Women's Organizer and Mineral Development Fund. Both positions are positions where I'm required to serve multitude. So I don't see any of them as probably bigger than the other in terms of service to humanity. And so by the grace of God, since 1992, I'm the first National Women's Organizer to have won elections twice. And so since 2018, I've been serving in this capacity, and I call it an interesting school. I think that it's a humbling opportunity, and so I don't see anything that says, okay, this is something that you can do or you can't handle. It's been by the mercy and grace of Roy, but and also Mineral Development Fund. It's I call it the foot soldier or the grassroots fund, in the sense that it's a fund that is required to take care of all mining communities in our country. And so it's a fund that, takes you into deep thinking. And compared to the women's wing, when you see women in certain situation, and it's not just women, when you see children, it takes you into deep thinking. What can I do to help humanity? What can I do in this position that I have? So to say that it gives me sleepless night, I don't know, but I'll say that it gives me a lot to think about, a lot to create and recreate, a lot to analyze and so on and so forth. So I don't call that sleepless night. I call it a humbling opportunity and a privilege to serve. Yeah. Right.
You've pretty much touched on the MDF and what they do. When you say you take care of mining communities, what do you mean? Because if there is one thing that has been up in the conversations in relation to mining, is the fact that a lot of our mining communities don't look like minerals are extracted from there.
Unfortunately. And the Mineral Development Act, now unto 2016, was actually established by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. And in March, actually. And so I usually, when I talk about Mineral Development Fund and the vision with which His Excellency established it, I go back to the cocoa roads. Okay, so Cocoa Roads, I was a member of parliament when His Excellency brought the whole concept of Cocoa Roads, where he said that Ghana made so much from cocoa, and it was time for part of what we get from the cocoa and the process we get to go back to the communities where we produce, cocoa. And so Cocoa Roads was established. And I do remember when some of our colleagues from the other side were saying, okay, some of the roads that His Excellency, it was in our budget to be constructed under the Cocoa Roads, were not cocoa producing, towns. But these are roads where the trucks that actually cut the cocoa from the farms ply on to the port. So it made a lot of sense that whilst we ply the road and then the roads are destroyed because of the weight, we should use some of the proceeds to actually construct right from the farm, the communities, the road to the Tema port, where this product will be exported. The same way, I believe that same outlook that he came up with the Mineral Development Fund. As you said, minerals are extracted and the minerals is not infinite. It's definitely will get finished. And so when people come into our communities and they just take and don't give back to us, then we look the opposite of what is taken out of our communities. And so a Mineral Development Fund was set up to redress any negative impact that mining has on our communities and the people who live in these communities, to also create alternative livelihood, to also go into research and support mining activities and mining works. And so, and also make investments that will also support the community development and go into skill training and all other things. And so for the fund, that is what it was established for. Unfortunately, we did not operationalize it until 2025 when we came to office, because just when it was established and it was, still sucking mommy's milk, we left office.
And it was not operationalized until you returned
by
again.
us, but it was operationalized by the previous administration. Yes.
Now, you receive levies from licensed mining operations, but
okay, so we were 20% of mineral royalties. It's brought, allocated to Mineral Development Fund, for various distributions and then development as well.
Of the operations, because communities are the heart and center of this, where lies your oversight in terms of matters in relation to illegal mining within these communities? Because for where mining companies exist, there's a tendency for illegal mining as well to operate and permeate. Where lies your supervisory jurisdiction on that front, before I get into your personal fight as well, because we've seen you
anything that represents negativity, negative impact in the community and on the people is part of us. So when you go to the community and you destroy their water bodies, you've touched MDF. When you go to the community and you destroy their farms, you touch MDF. When you go to the communities and you destroy their schools by mining behind schools, the school park, and sometimes in front of hospitals, sometimes, some of these indigenous people are brutalized and their properties taken, or traumatized, you've touched MDF. So anything that said we should redress any negative impact. So any form of negative impact on our communities and the people who live in these communities, you have actually walked into the office of MDF.
And that's why we saw you, or we've seen you in the forest in the dead of the night on activities going after illegal miners.
Surprising enough, those days that I was going, it wasn't, you think it's a forest. No, but when you go to the communities where we farm, I'm from a village. Okay, so I'm a village champion. And I'm not that child who grew up in the city with all those things. I grew up in the village, going to farm, doing all the things that any village child will do today. So I
Right.
know the village. Okay, so when you see my house, and behind my house, we have forests or we have farms and what have you. It does not make it. It does not make it a forest. Okay, so where you saw us were actually the farms and the communities where these people live, and they are terrorized, or they were being terrorized. Students could not go to school. Students didn't want books, they wanted guns. Students didn't want anything to do with education.
Right.
But all that they wanted to do was how to defend themselves. So that's how you found us there, because we realized that it's something that we came to meet, and it's something that we have to, I usually say that if a man decides to, divorce a woman, or a woman decides to divorce a man for one reason or the other, the one who replaces the one who left, you cannot give it so much excuse of what happened. You understand?
Right.
But you look for solution to the matters that you meet in that home. And so what we were doing, you are still doing it, in different ways.
I was going to ask, because in the initial part of 2025, we saw you front and center in terms of
Exactly.
those clampdowns.
I wanted to give a statement that we're on the ground, and we are still on the ground.
But you no longer go personally.
I've not been there personally for some time, but it doesn't mean that I don't go. I go.
There's a concern that there were threats on your life when you started.
No,
that
obviously there
activity.
were threats. In fact, I got
And
poisoned, and I survived poison. I mean, the whole of July of last year, I wasn't in the country. I had surgery, and by the grace of God, and I'm a daughter of a Roy, so that's what I said. And doctors declare me with a clean bill of health December 2025. But should that stop me? No. You understand?
So that took you off the frontal fight in terms of the communities being touched.
No, the communities are still being touched. We have Mineral Development Fund. We have a Department of Community Engagement. So we have operation, we have MCDS, we have various departments. So they are there. But usually you see leadership. I mean, sometimes you may see a president going to project sites and other. He's showing leadership. I couldn't have stayed in Accra, especially when we were about starting work and making decisions as to what to do and to decide and follow the status quo. And say, okay, you are in Accra, you think that when you go and you give a KVIP, that is the solution to illegal mining. When you go and then you give them somebody who is mining and doing illegal mining, probably may get 100 cedis a day. Let me just put it that way. A day, 100 cedis. So sometimes when you engage them, especially the laborers, okay, a day, 100 cedis, that person, you go and give the person probably a palm seedling, and say plant and wait for 5 years or so to harvest. Is that what they need? Or when I give a KVIP, or when I build 1 kg or 1 boho, is that the real development? What is the development? You understand me?
Right.
So we needed to engage the community. So we started a community engagement with myself as the administrator, who is at the head of affairs of Mineral Development Fund. So that when decisions are being made, I'll not be making decisions from the books.
Absolutely.
Or decisions from what I don't know. Today, no officer can go to the field and come and tell me a different story. I know what pertains. I may not know the 100% the entirety, but I do know enough to make the right decisions that to positively impact the lives of these ones who live in these communities and the communities.
You mentioned being poisoned July of last year as a result of the activities and the fights.
I think it actually happened somewhere around June thereabout. Exactly, yeah.
How did your family take that?
It wasn't anything to share with my family. But of course with my husband.
Yes,
and exactly.
with a nuclear family, not the extended family.
Okay.
The direct family you're with, who will
we
see
did
you
a prayer
every
therapy.
day.
We believe that God, you see, it's in the Bible that when you are a child of God, when you take poison to be vitamin into your body, and it's been declared, I shall not die, I shall live to declare the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That is my belief. And so when it happened, my husband was very supportive, and I might give a shout out to Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. He stood with us in prayers. I remember the day I was going into surgery, we didn't even call him, we called, and we were on our way, to go on admission for surgery, and he was with us throughout, prayed with us. So for me, I don't know, just like when I was going, people said they were scared. That's okay. I didn't feel the danger. I felt that there are people who constantly live in these communities, and sometimes I say go to the field and you see the dangers that they live. So if I go one day and I'm threatened, and I say, okay, then that's it, I'm throwing my hands in the air. What about the person who lives there every day? What about the person who lives in these communities? And you see, there cannot be any development in any environment where there is no peace. That's why somebody said, I don't want peace, I want justice.
Yeah.
When justice comes, peace will come. When there's peace, development follows. But if there's no peace, if there's violence, if there are threats, how can you develop? So when you go there and you ask them what they need, and I looked at the faces of our little ones saying they needed guns.
The kids were telling you
they said they wanted guns, and I
themselves.
thought it was toy guns actually, but they said no, the big ones that these people, when they come, they have, because they felt a sense. They said they needed to protect, like they felt they could protect their mothers, their children, but that's what they felt. When you see an old woman walk up to you and tell you, my daughter, I have farm, but for the past 1 year I can't go to my farm because of the threats on my life. And this was an old woman. The women came, the youth. When we have young ones who have decided to do plantain, and so many acres, and over a year has not been able to step on their farm. These are things, that concern Mineral Development Fund. When the only water that they take, probably you can talk about Ofen, you can talk about Subin, you can talk about Jimmy River, you can talk about the Pra, you can talk about the Densu, you can talk about so many of these water bodies where we actually walk there and we fetch water in these communities. Or probably when we are going to farm and this water has been diverted or destroyed, then it's of concern. And pits have been left, that have become death trap, where we find, mother and 4 children died a day in a pit, where a 7-year-old boy fell in a pit behind a house and died, where we have, look, if I open my phone, sometimes, it's not just a complaint. When it happens, those who have my number, they'll just take a picture of the bodies and they'll send to my phone. It's like saying that this is it. So and these pits are not too far from the communities. They are not. They are really close to the schools. They are close to the areas where people will walk the pathway to their farms. And that's how come a woman and the 3 children died. So these are negative impacts. What again? When the environment is destroyed, when the water body is destroyed, when our livelihood is destroyed, it becomes negative. It destroys also education. So it's every other thing.
All facets of
exactly,
life
but what we do is to also get into a lot of research. When now, by the grace of God, very soon we'll be publishing our first scientific paper, Mineral Development Fund, because we've now established a very strong research department headed by a very knowledgeable researcher. And so these are things, part of government efforts, putting in place to make sure that you address issues not holistically, let me put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you detail the extent of damage, not just to environment, but to life as well, and social life of these communities. And all of this is as a result of Galamsey. The NDC in opposition promised to deal a decisive blow to activities of Galamsey. You yourself have suffered some harm as a result of your fight against Galamsey. What is the government really doing about the fight about Galamsey? And are we winning that fight repair the consistent videos and pictures that are sent to your phone every now and then?
Government is winning the fight.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, exactly. I want to say this. I see, because I'm a vet doctor, I want to go back to medicine. Anytime a case comes to you and you determine that it's a chronic case, you have a chronic protocol to handle chronic cases. You can never use an acute protocol to handle a chronic case, and vice versa. Let me move from there and go to construction. And I think the typical thing that any Ghanaian can, familiarize with is the famous or infamous, is it National Cathedral?
National
What's
Cathedral.
the name? Okay. The place where we have now that man created, I don't know, dam or whatever it is, I don't know the condition right, stood houses that were built for judges. These houses were pulled down. They were destroyed. It didn't take one day to build those houses. It took some time, but it took a day to bring these houses down. Now, any effort to rebuild even the same houses or to repair what is there, it's not the same effort that you can put in destroying. Okay, our forest reserves have been destroyed. Communities, our farms, our river bodies have been destroyed. Government has taken the concerted, approach, so engaging everybody and everyone else to make sure that with this effort, together with determination, unity, we'll be able to build it. You say we are not winning, it's 1 year in office. And I think that even from my end, we have actually championed a lot of restoration of some of our farmlands, okay? And government has now put in, we've realized that giving, let's say saying, we are giving you seedlings, so stop mining. It doesn't yield.
I know that's a big project. You're doing something in terms of tree for life and all of that.
No, tree for life is all these things. You see, you can't. It's not restoring the livelihood. We are restoring the forest, the environment, and government has put in place the NIMOS that we know. Is also another arm of the ministry in fighting the Galamsey. I'll come to because the fight and solution. Now you cannot create when you want something to leave, you create an exit. You understand? If you create a wall, they will hit the wall and they'll fight back. And so as we push them, what is the exit plan for them? The exit plan is government policy direction of the corporate mining, under the
cooperative mining,
and at the Minerals Commission they have the small scale mining. I think the small scale mining department of the Minerals Commission, where as we speak, MDF, for instance, we've entered into an MOU with Ghana Geological Survey, and there are some block lands or block concessions where they are going to now do the geological analysis test to know where the gold is. Why are they mining everywhere? Because they don't even know where the gold is. Once that is done, then together with the appropriate authorities, especially the small scale mining arm of the Minerals Commission and all the different agencies, we can comfortably now direct these communities and these young ones into responsible and effective mining. So that this is where you are going. We are monitoring. Then we want to make sure that you don't go back into the waters. But meanwhile, that which has been destroyed needs to be repaired. So we have a system where we call it the polluter pays principle,
where the person who pollutes will have to pay.
You have to pay.
Have you got people who you?
Oh yes.
Paying?
Yes, it's working. It's working. What we do is that we put you back, or you pay for A to go and do the work.
where in which communities are we
Okay,
seeing
so
the
let me say
polluter
that
pay,
we
for
have,
instance?
when you go to the Achima Mpunya district, we've done about 200 acres. And when you go to the Achima Nwebeja district, we've done 50 acres. Upper Densha West, we've done 350 acres. Asante Achim Central, we have 98. When you go to Nzima East, 75. And when you go to Amansie Central District, we have approximately 600 acres, and we're starting some new ones somewhere else.
So these are lands that are being reclaimed.
Exactly. So when I say the acres, they've been done.
So the acres you speak to, they've been reclaimed.
Yes. And when you come, if you journalists come to our office with the community engagement and with our corporate affairs and operation, they can take you to the field for you to see. And then there are places where we are planting trees, but you see, you do that also with the community to know what they want. And it will interest you to know that some communities want to plant trees, commercial trees. You understand? But aside that, as we when we finish with the geological survey and they give us the data of the blocked out concessions that the small scale mining department of Minerals Commission has given to Mineral Development Fund, then we can also now allocate these to the communities, and they'll be directed, aided, taught how to do proper, safe mining so that they can gain. And we know that what they gain will go back to the communities. Meanwhile, we will also be doing other developmental projects, because you see, we realize that the solution is not just the tree planting. What is the exit plan for them? How do they survive? And so when government is doing all these things, and trust me, government has now, why is it now given, doing the cooperative mining of the communities? Because we realize I can't be in my village and then you come mine and you tell me I can't mine. I should just go into tree planting. But when you help me, I'll be able to mine, get the gold, sell, make a living, and also protect my environment. So that is something like what President Mahama Yokada, people were talking. I said, look, we cannot control, you don't know them, but the best way is to register them, regularize them, then you know how many Okadas you have. And then they know that they have to, act responsibly and all those things. So these are some of the things that we've done. There's the blue water guard.
There's a blue water guard as well.
And you see, people say, they started seeing some level of, clean water now, but sometimes you have a very long stretch. That's why I said, look, it needs, of course, we want a concerted effort. We need a concerted effort in this fight against Galamsey, but we also need unity, and the one trying to rebuild that which has been destroyed needs to be encouraged, and not saying that you cannot say that, no, but I do also sometimes understand that when people have seen so much and they don't like it, and they have somebody come in, we just want everything to happen overnight. But as I said, any chronic case that is handled with an acute protocol, that doctor is meant to kill whoever he or she is taking care of.
But is it not also because of the sort of promises which were made when you were in opposition as to how well you would deal with Galamsey? And I was looking to ask as well how much support you are receiving at the Minerals Development Fund, even in your small effort in dealing with Galamsey as well, because there are some who even suggest that you may have been asked to stop all of the operations by a higher up authority within the government, and that's why you stopped as
right
well.
Now we actually
is there support in your own endeavor to fight Galamsey?
Exactly. So now we have a combined effort between Mineral Development Fund, National Security, and NIMOS and Forestry Commission, that working together to make sure that's the task force, that is the move out and arrest take equipment, take to court, take this. We are doing all that. Then we are also looking at the collaborative effort that we have with geological survey, and very soon we'll be entering one also with the small scale mining, department directed of the Mineral Commission, and we have some with the Forestry Commission, so that we can all collaboratively fight this and say, okay, I'm holding here, you are holding there, let's sit here, let's sit there, whilst those who have to clear, they are clearing. So let me go back to this. Forgive me, I'm a Cuban trained, so let me just use this example. So when you have mines, and I'm not mentioning the country, but whilst we were in Cuba, there was a group of refugees that they brought. And these refugees were picked, they were children who were picked from another country. And it's not a beautiful example, but in their own mind, that's what they did. So there were mines, and of course, let me even use this Iran, US war. I think that's a good one. You hear President Trump saying they have mine sweepers. Okay, and of course, my husband is a Navy, of course, retired. Yeah. He served 25 and a half years. He retired just last December by the grace of God. And so I'll ask him, so then it's okay. They have mine sweepers. Okay, so once you have the mine sweepers and you want to cross, the mine sweepers will go and sweep and destroy any mine, so that if you have soldiers, they can go in. Okay, so let's look at 9 months with the national security and all
as mine sweepers,
as a mine sweepers who will clear the illegal ones. But as you clear our young ones out of that place, for them, some of them not to say, okay, you've sacked me from here, I'm going there, and they know that no, there is a solution where I can be a portion of a concession, and now be helped, directed, educated to mine responsibly, away from the water bodies, the community, and everything else. Then yes, I will not be here where there's trouble. I'm going there, and when I dig, I cover, I plant.
Absolutely. In terms of the work that you do at MDF, how much funding? So obviously you mentioned the sources and all that, but are you receiving enough to do all of the projects that you're undertaking? And how far do you want to take the Minerals Development Fund? Because this is, like you mentioned, it was kick-started by the current president during his first term, and then it was actually actualized by...
I'm laughing when you say at the amount of money you need. Even if I receive everything, the nation Ghana cannot have all the money that Ghana needs for Ghana's developmental projects. So that is where...
You're working within your means.
Exactly. So when it's given, you work within. And you come. We have a lot of innovative and creative ideas that we're bringing, so that there will be funds that will come into the fund, because obviously, see, the amount of damage that has been done. If government should give us 100% of the royalties, and now with this destruction all over the country, you still will not be able to do it. Just take it. Look at everything that is happening in our country. Government has money, so that's why I'm saying that Ghana government itself cannot have all the money that is required to actually prop Ghana to the level that president will want to bring it. So it requires, discipline and creativity, thinking outside the box, and still making that positive impact and moving on. So we know that if this one comes and you add on, then you can have the big picture. There's a saying that Rome was not built in one day, but it started. And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So I think that government, that's why when you say, no, we are not losing the fight. Actually, government is winning the fight. Because I know that when we go on the field, there are places where you see, people who have licenses to mine. And usually I say, my turn of illegal mining is not someone who has licenses or doesn't have licenses. The fact that you have licenses to drive does not mean you can drive into a crowd and then you tell them I'm licensed to drive anyhow. No. So I determine a Mineral Development Fund. Our own definition of illegal mining is that person who irresponsibly mines. When I say irresponsibly mines, you destroy our forests, you destroy our water bodies, you destroy the schools, you destroy the clinics, you destroy the villages, you open pits, you don't cover pits, and all those things. So that to us, you are an illegal element. In fact, you are an environmental terrorist. That's how we see you. And so, where do I want to take
in terms of your legacy?
In terms of the legacy, I want that by the grace of God, up to where God will take me, or where up to where God will take me, the mineral development, from where He determines and the President determines. I want to be remembered as one, the administrator of the grassroots fund, that's the mineral development fund, who actually put plans and programs in place to kickstart the real and true development of our communities from a comprehensive angle, from a research point,
right.
and also having actually now made the mineral development fund a proper corporate body, that it's when you go to our communities, it's felt, it's seen, and that the works of MDF will be felt, seen, palpable on the ground.
Right.
And that's why we are not just sitting there, but we are having a lot of MOUs with other government agencies. When we see that, okay, we can benefit mutually, then we come. When we see that can benefit mutually, then we come. And that's why they are releasing concessions, government, and that's the other thing, the local content that government has put. It's all part of the government effort, to shift us away from the illegal mine. Because if I have, I'll not be illegal. If I'm aided, I'll not be illegal. If I'm taught, I'll not be illegal. You understand me? So all these ones, that's why we are entering into all these partnership with Geological Survey and also with MINCOM and Forestry Commission,
right.
and then all the other agencies. Yeah.
Let's switch from Minerals Development Fund to your position as National Women's Organizer of the NDC. I asked a question before we came on, and you smiled greatly. There's impending elections, an election which is coming, and there's a lot of talk about it. Will you be seeking to maintain the position as National Women's Organizer of the NDC, or you be aiming for higher?
You know why I smile. I told you that I'm the first
to have won 2 elections.
So to me, I don't take that for granted.
Right.
And I was voted for by women. In both elections, I say that I was in the 400 plus. And there have been elections where some of the deputies may have more votes than the men. But by the special grace of God, in both elections, all the 2 deputies, they were in their 200s.
Right.
Okay? Even though I've witnessed elections of women organizers where there are 2 deputies, but 1 deputy will have more votes than the main women's
You
organizer.
always get more votes.
I always get over 200 votes over any of the deputies, so I don't take that for granted. Now, I have these women, and all of a sudden, what they will hear, my next level, whether I'm going, I'm not going, whether I'm doing this, I'm not doing within the party, they'll hear it on air. I don't think it to be respectful to them. I've met with the regional women organizers and their deputies, and God willing, very soon I will be meeting with the constituency women organizers, and we will also be having, before the event, the constituency election, be having exit conference of all the women organizers, and there I respectfully announced to the women who made me National Women's Organizer since 2018 what my next step will be. I think I owe that respect and honor to these women of honor, these women who fought so much, these women who stood with me, stood with their party, and brought this government to power.
You're described as the Queen of Kings by a cross-section of individuals. Will that description be a stepping stone for you to become possibly the first woman chair of the NDC, or possibly lead as the presidential candidate of the NDC into a general elections and win it?
In this world, when there's a big tree to climb, anybody to climb, or no, let me even move from the tree, but I'll just say anything that is there for you to hold on, you can hold and climb to the top. And again, when you go to school, I remember when I was in school and I saw my grandmother, and she said, I was not gonna, when I think I asked her for something, then she said, I told her, when I finish school, I'll come and take care of you. Then she said, by the time you finish, I'll be dead. And I said, no, Grandma, I'll be finishing soon. Because I thought by the time I finish, let's say the primary, whatever, you know that mindset. Then she said, no, that's where it dawned on me. But it didn't even dawn on me that time as I grew up. So anybody who goes to school, and today we still have people, pursuing, wanting to be doctors, and some get doctorates and they want to be professors, they want to be all those things. So in any career that you pursue, it should be a career where you seek to go higher. I always tell people.
So president or chairman, which one will it be?
No, I've not made a decision. You asked a question and I'm just doing that general analysis for you. That I'm not the type who say, oh, no, I want to be, no, I don't want to be a stagnant politician. I don't want to be a stagnant woman. I don't want to be a stagnant wife. I don't want to be a stagnant mother. Stagnancy is not in my dictionary. And I tell people, when you come to MDF, you find some of the very, very young.
But these are higher positions. It doesn't look like you'll be stagnant if you are the chairman.
What I'm saying is that I will not tell you that, I don't want to be chairman. I don't want to be this.
Okay,
what I'm trying to tell you is that I have not made any decision because I pray a lot and I love always to do what God wants me to do. So if God brings a stone and says, this is what I want you to step on and jump, then I'm sure that once I step on that stone and I jump, I can read the skies. And so that is what I do, and that is what I look up to. And my eyes are always on Roy, his direction. Because remember that when you are running with speed with that direction, you are running into your pain and your hurt. But when you have good direction and you are speeding, you know you are going to your destination. And that is what I want to, and respectfully, if I have to, my next level life from today to tomorrow in the political party, I think I owe it as a duty as that national women's organizer that these women have honored to, go to them and talk to them before I can say anything on air.
Absolutely. Doc, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you this morning.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Right, that's Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu Kote.
Kote, and my Kote is from...
he's a proud Bleobi.
Yes, my husband. My husband is a proud... I'm a proud Bleobi wife and a proud wife of a U.S. Navy veteran. So he served 25 and a half years and 6 days. So I'm very proud of him, and I always tell him, thank you for your service. I'm glad he's out because I'll be shaking by now. No, I'll be shaking by now. You don't know when they'll call you back. I'll be shaking by now. But I really wish all our gallant soldiers, Ghanaians on peacekeeping, those in Lebanon, those caught in the battlefront, I really, really wish them well, and I pray to God that India protected, and what is needed for the war to cease, to come by, and the world to be a better place for all of us to live.
Absolutely. Doc, like I mentioned, a pleasure speaking to you this morning, and thank you very much.
The pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
That's Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu Kote. She is the administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, joining us this morning.